To be present, we must be intentional, and to bear fruit, we must feed the soul. You're listening to Pause, Sip, and Ponder.
Okay.
2, 1. Hello, Ponders. Welcome back to another episode after a minute. For these next few episodes, I don't know how many will come out of this or after this. Our background's probably going to change ever so often. We're in the middle of some transitions in my personal life and just the podcast in general. But we're glad that you are here today listening in. If this is your first time here, welcome. Pause, Sip, and Ponder is a podcast and a community dedicated to providing safe spaces where we talk about intentional topics, where we dig deep, learn from one another, and gain perspective. And we're excited to be here. Happy summer. I hope you guys have been having the best of summer. I think today will be a mix of catching up and also just another great time for Mary and I to have some really good conversations. And so I'm excited. But before we get into our topic, how are you, Mary?
I'm good.
How's your summer so far?
My summer's been good. I've been out a lot. A lot of my friends are saying like, "Oh, you're tan." I'm like, "Yeah, that's my
you've been
goal."
out.
Yeah.
What you been doing?
Just like camping and swimming and just being outside. That's like the main goal of like me being for like summer.
Yeah.
So.
Did you have, I know a couple people I know did, and I wrote one. I actually didn't look back at it till today, but did you have a summer bucket list?
Oh, shoot. Honestly, I didn't want to do a bucket list this time I did. I do have one. I think it was really simple. I think one of them is my goal was like make 20 new friends. So I'm like almost at the halfway.
Oh, wow.
So
do you like list their names? Are you counting?
Yes.
Their picture on your wall?
Yes. I have my little like cardboard of like who I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I kept like track because I've also been going to like playing sports again and then like seeing new faces at work. So I'm like, okay, I'm writing your name down.
That's good.
Yeah. How about you, Miss Girl?
Yeah, I made one. I actually didn't at first. I was like, I don't know. I was like in the middle of, a stressful time. I was like, I don't even know if I could make a fun bucket list. Like, I was just so fixated on that. But I saw everyone else doing it, and I think we all have our own set of, things that worry us in our life. But I think doing things like bucket lists and setting like fun goals, not just like distract you from those things, but I think it also just brings light to whatever you're going through. And so, I didn't notice that I've checked off some stuff, even if I didn't look at it visually, because I literally like buried it somewhere. I ended up doing those things anyways. So, going to a winery, and we're going to go to a farm in a couple weeks with Pause, Sip, and Ponder. Did facials, camping. Have yet been to the beach, but and I think rest was one of them as well. And so I'm really, really glad that I got some stuff to check off, but not feeling forced about it.
That's good.
Yeah, but I hope you guys have been having a really great, I don't even know which camera to look at sometimes. We have two cameras today. Thanks, Gil. I'm excited for today's topic because I feel like it's one that I've been personally navigating, and I'm curious to hear Mary's too, as she chose today's topic, and that is on priorities. And so I suggest for this podcast that you have your journal with you. It doesn't have to be during, maybe after, but I think it's a good time to just rehatch and redefine and check in with ourselves and where our priorities are at, because especially during summer, we can be very, very, very busy. So I think yeah, one of my goals was just to be intentional and to rest. And so I think it's really important, especially with our community. We really push intentionality and living fruitful and full lives. So yeah, I'm excited. Mary, take it away.
I'll start with like the reason why I wanted to
Yes.
start this topic. Because, you know, when you're out with friends and you have so many different friend groups and you like want to be at each like special event that they invite you to, but it's like you'd have to like pick and choose which one you want and things like that. And it made me feel like, oh, this is like part of living, or like part of like growing up and like choosing who you want. I mean, not choosing, but like choosing where you want to be at a certain time and things like that. So like definitely prioritizing your relationships with friendships and like balancing it out the best way possible as you're being an adult in this day and age. Can you remember a time when you had to choose between multiple events on the same day? How did you decide which one to attend?
I can't remember like specific, because it's happened a couple times, especially if, you know, Gil and I are both invited to something, and or we have different things that we can attend that same day. And actually he's really good at like checking in with me too, because I think I found myself at times like pressuring myself or forcing myself to go to an event or some gathering, probably more of like either it's FOMO or like guilt. But he's taught me, like, you know, before saying yes, you know, just to wait, because it could be like an event the next week, right? And I'm like, we have to go there, and we probably have like a bunch of other events prior to that event. And he's like, you know, you might be tired by the end of the week before you hit that event. I'm like, no, I'll be fine.
Oh my god, I feel that so much.
He's like, I don't know, babe. I think you should like maybe rest that day. And I'm like, and then so we did that. We went through the week, and then the event was coming up, and I was like, I don't want to go.
I changed my mind.
Yeah. So I think it's sometimes like it's nice to be so enthusiastic and excited about attending something, but if it's compromising like your health or just your rest, then it is something that you don't have to say yes to so early. I like to say yes. I like to put things on my Google Calendar. I love to book it. Like I love to know what's coming, but there's a side of it where you have to give yourself grace too, because you're only human. And I read this thing in this book that I'm reading where it said, we are human beings, not human doings. So we're not really supposed to be doing a million things at once. So I'm learning that as I get older, that I don't have to be somewhere in someone's presence all the time. So yeah.
No, I feel the same way too. That I think instead of like me saying yes, it's more of like Muk saying yes, and I'm the one checking in with him, because it's usually like we get invited to things and he says like, oh yeah, we can definitely go, and I'm like, hold the brakes, babe, we have something that day, let's backtrack. And then like definitely when we decide when that event happens and then we go to like a specific one, it's more of like a relief, like oh my god, I'm actually glad like we went here, because like mentally now we're done, we need to go home. So I guess, do you think, what are like factors that you have when you're deciding on going to an event? I know there's your brain power and like your social battery and like your mental health. What are like other factors you think about when you're trying?
I mean, these are just, I feel like, you know, we face this a lot. Money. Like, do you even have the money to go out to Korean barbecue again this week?
Dude.
And your body's like, yeah. But like your wallet's like, no, honey.
You like open your wallet, there's like a fly.
So there is that factor for sure. And I think when we were younger, like, you know, when we first got jobs, like it was just so easy for us to blow it. But now we have other expenses and other things we need to take care of. And so you just got to be a little bit more mindful. So we haven't mastered that yet, but we're learning. Actually, Gil and I, as we're preparing for marriage, finally sat down to write down like our budget for life as if we're living together already.
Nice.
And so we wrote down like all our debit card debt and like everything, because that is a sensitive thing. But once you get married, it's like his money is your money, and so it's good to be honest. And so yeah, I felt a little bit vulnerable, but it was an essential step to making wiser decisions with money. There's that. And then I guess like, why do I need to go there? Like socially, I don't, if there's like a cool hit party, I mean, we don't really do that, but like, that we're invited to, and a lot of people are going to go there, and exclusive, like, doesn't mean you have to go. It doesn't mean that it's for you, and that, are you going there just because it's cool and people expect you to? Like, is what I'm going to go to really adding value to my life, or is it just a thing to like pass time? Because some people do that too. I think that's what we did a lot in high school, just like trying to pass time and doing like going to the mall like all the time. And we were literally just sitting there, not buying anything, just like looking in the stores, because a pastime, because we didn't really have anything else. And so, yeah, those are some of the main factors that I key in.
Oh no, I like that one factor that you just mentioned about like, why are you going? Because I mean, I think I was in that situation at one point. Like, I was going, it was like my cousin's birthday. Oh, I'm gonna be supportive because it's her birthday. So me and Muk Muk already know that crowd is not for us, but we're there for her, for family. So like, once it started getting a little rowdy, we're like, okay. At least like we were there for her, and like we did our part of like being there. So it's more of like, we don't feel guilty of coming, but we feel like glad that we came for our reason, instead of like staying on. Oh my God, they're drinking. Like, oh my God, okay. For me, the factors are definitely with like money, and also with like mentally, I guess with your how you're feeling that week. That's so funny when you mentioned money. I just remembered one week, like I think I went to Korean barbecue like 3 times in a week. I'm like, how do I have money for this, dude? When Fogo de Chao just opened, I'm like, I went there last week and now I'm here again. Like, who do I think I am? That's the thing. It's like, you obviously, those are great times too. Like, we should enjoy life, as it comes. It's just about being more mindful. And it's not to say that going out to eat is bad. Like, no, like, no, we do that all the time. But do we need to do it all the time? Maybe it's instead of calling something like bad, maybe just saying like, my goal is this, and so that means I would have to sacrifice and then prioritize this. Instead of saying like I'm removing something, maybe rather you should just replace it with something. So so instead of like, just say you're in, if you're looking for a new friend group and you're not really feeling the friend group that you're with now, instead of like completely isolating yourself and being like, forget them, like I'm just gonna do me and be by myself, which there are seasons where you can do that. I think it's also important to like also make an effort to find good quality friends, or friends that you feel like you'd vibe with. And so so there has to be some effort, not just like completely dropping something in your life because you want to reach a certain goal, but just doing something proactively to help you get there. Because like when we're talking about like, just say fitness, right, and your goal is your priority is to be fit, you would have to sacrifice a bit, but instead of depriving yourself, because I know a lot of people are like, I like really, really just
so depressed and sad that they're going through the process, then it's like, why are you going through the process? You know, instead switch your mindset and being like, you know, this is something that I really find valuable and something that I want to work on so I can like work on my better, like become a better person by doing it. So yeah, it requires a lot of mental, you know, motivation, you know, if you want to get your priorities straight, I guess, or to redefine them and to yeah, I think that's it.
Slay. No, that was good.
Yeah.
Okay, for this next question. So, what is it? Say, so there's scenario, there's two parties, whatever. And then you pick one or the other. But then you feel guilty about not going to the other party. How do you deal with that?
Ooh. Well, thankfully, I have good people in my life that don't make me feel bad if I don't attend. I try my best you know, with good reason. I hope that I have a good reason to cancel for an event. And I think it's also good to normalize, like, and I feel like I didn't learn this till later. Like, I kind of caught on to it when I heard other people doing it, but be like, hey, I know I said I would come, but I just have to be honest. Like, I don't have any social fuel to attend. And I'm like, I respect that. Like, you are so good at keeping your boundaries, you know. I would rather, like, if I was hosting an event, I would rather you tell me that than you feel forced to come and you're just like sitting in the corner and not your best self. So I think that's something that I'm trying to work on and something I've been better at. And so, yeah, if I can attend an event, I would reach out to them personally and just share my explanation why. But I try to be like, how can we, you know, maybe how can I make it up to you another time in another special and unique way? So, yeah, I have to remember, like, one event is not the end of the world. Like, the world's going to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, and if the other person reacts in a way that is more negative, and then you have to like kind of set I guess redefine your priorities in terms of relationship, like what kind of people are you having in your life that's causing you to feel guilty for not attending, especially if you have a good reason as to like maybe you not having enough social fuel, or you're just not feeling good physically, or maybe you didn't have enough rest throughout the week. You know, I feel like a good quality relationship, a good quality friend would understand that. So
yeah, no, I agree, especially if they don't tell you that they're not coming, and then you're already expecting them to come. So it would be kind of awkward the next day when you have to like be like, hey, why didn't you come? And then they tell you after the fact, it's like, oh, you know, you should have told me. It's definitely, when you're growing up as like an adult, it's good to have that strong communication with those good quality friends. Right. So it wouldn't be so one-sided, and then have it like mess up the relationship down the line, which would really not be that great. So
yeah, that's a good point. And speaking of relationships, like, to have it's good to have good communication, and also within your building of a relationship with this person, I would assume that you've talked about priorities. I would assume that you talked about your lifestyle and your goals and stuff. And so I think it's really good to have a group of friends that are hip to your priorities. So just say your goal is to read more, and that is your priority, and they're like, Mary, come over, like, we're gonna just hang out, blah blah blah, but you have set the goal that you wanted to finish a book in a week. Then, you know, I would be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I totally forgot that's one of your goals. Let me not hinder your priorities right now, and let you do that. And I think it's really important to have friends like that, which I'm really grateful we do have friends like that.
Honestly, there's like 90% of the people that we know, if we say like we can go somewhere, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's fine, don't worry about it, like, we'll see you like another day, or like we can reschedule, like, because we all have different lives. So the fact that we're making time to fix it or reschedule it or replace that timing, that's really good. That's like blah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good to keep in your circle. So
yeah, and I think priorities is also a great is a reflection of that person, and that can mean anything. Like if your priority is to just blow a bunch of money and not care about your relationships, okay, that is your priority, I guess.
I guess.
So however you act, like however you react and respond, and wherever your actions lead, that does reflect where your priorities are at. And so I think if you are someone who wants to redefine your priorities or maybe change them a bit for the better, I think it's a good practice to share these things out loud and have accountability with these people, because like you said, it might go one-sided. Some people may assume things, and some people may not even know that you're prioritizing family. And if you don't tell them that, not that you have to all the time, but like if they don't have a even a hint of that, they may assume that you don't care about them as a friend anymore. But they wouldn't have known if you didn't communicate that my priority is my family and that I need to hash things out and kind of resolve things within my family. So yeah, I think practicing saying your priorities out loud is helpful for everyone, and you're including yourself too.
Yeah, it's a good practice to practice that now while we're in our growing ages, so it wouldn't be such an awkward conversation down the line when another situation like that happens. I'm sure we've been in those situations before, and now it's like if we see them on the street, it's like, oh, hey, I used to know that person. Hi. So there could be those instances, but we don't want that.
Yeah.
So
right. Nice.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh god.
Or you don't even say hi. You're
just like dude. Awkward.
So for you, what are some things that can hinder you when setting priorities in your life?
Like hinder.
So what are the things that challenges it? Because there are days where you have set a goal and your priority is something, but then there's an outside thing that's maybe slowing you down or causing you to be discouraged, or just affecting kind of your way to to prioritize certain things in your life. So what are some examples that might hinder you or limit you for keeping these priorities in your life?
It'll definitely be with how long I've been working on a certain priority, I guess. Like, say if like someone's told me something months in advance on a day, I'm like, okay, I have there's time for me to plan everything out and make sure that it doesn't interact with another thing that's going on that day. So if there's another event coming on the same day, it's more of oh, I've already put my mental mind into this first, than having that the event that just came out of nowhere, and make sure I have that first priority of that. I guess it makes sense. So
yeah.
So when we do our oh my god, when we do our positive ponder events, I put it in advance.
Yeah.
And then it's say it's oh, there's someone's birthday coming up, or do you guys want to go get food? I'm no, I can't, because I'm already dedicating time to go to me and my friend's podcast stuff. I've had it on my calendar for some time now, but maybe if there's time afterwards, we can do something after that. I'll try to make adjustments to see what they would want to do instead. So it's it's the mental thought of it being up here,
kind of like a visual of what's priority number 1 and 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Some of the things that I thought about when the hindrances that can come through setting priorities is, it could be comparison, it could be people's expectations of you sometimes, you know, like just say you openly share about a priority that you want to focus on, and people will give like unsolicited advice. Yeah. There's a lot of things actually that I wrote down about things, because that's real, because we can talk about goals and, you know, meeting these goals, but like I think it's really important to talk about things that counteract us, because we can't grow without something that's always challenging us and pissing us off, and like, you know, because that's really where life is, you know, because we always see on Instagram like how to make your life better, and like you should live like this and wake up like this, and it's not like those things are bad, but it's what really makes you a person of integrity when keeping up with these priorities is going through these challenges. And so these are some of the things that I thought of.
Okay.
So people can distract or limit you when setting priorities in life through several things, like imposing their expectations of you. So that's like friends, family, society, social media, right? Because it's like when you create a goal and then you see other people doing it a different way or doing the same goal but in their way, it like causes us to second guess ourselves, and then we just don't follow through, you know. So that, and then negative criticism or influences you know, can really hinder our confidence, right? Because it's like we'll set a goal and priority, but then our confidence is always being struck, you know, and then we're just not wanting to follow through anymore. Another thing that hinders our priority keeping is time.
Oh my gosh,
time demands, actually. This one was good.
Ooh.
Others may demand your time and attention for their needs, leading to less time for your own goals and priorities.
Oh my God, that's work. No.
So guys, even if it's your significant other, like someone you're dating, or it's your family, your mom, your dad, like they, you know, Gil and I talk about this a lot. When like your parents, like you're literally doing something, you're working on, you know, a video or editing, or you're doing whatever, and they're like, Pauline, can you do this? And they're
my gosh.
and you know, the first couple of times I'm like, okay, I'll help you with this, but then it will become repetitive and then normal, and then you don't end up finishing your goals, or you don't end up, you know, doing them, because people demand your time. Your work demands your time. So many things demand our time. And so I think when we're setting our priorities, we need to, you know, there are things that you don't want to be like, no. You don't want to say no all the time to these people, but you just want to be mindful for also communicating to them, like, this is what I'm focusing on today, and I'd really appreciate if you respected my time. And then as soon as I'm done, I will help you.
Dude, I've had that with my job so many times. There's days when I'm like, okay, I'm only gonna be focusing on my work and like my personal projects.
Yes.
And then I get a text and it's like, are you clocking in today? I'm like, at the same time, it's like, oh, I can make some money within a few hours. But then at the same time, I dedicated time for my projects at this time. But then somehow it's like, I'm going to clock in. I'm going to make some money.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of confliction. But like, I guess it's more of setting boundaries with my time in particular. Since it's just like, I'm doing like kind of everything for myself and then for work. So I just need to tell my manager like, hey, no, I could do it later, but only if I have time. But like,
right. And it's hard. Sometimes it's like really hard to say no to people. Honestly, it takes practice, and it took me a very long time to overcome that with certain people. Like, it's very easy for me to say no to a certain group of people, but maybe not this group of people in my life. And so it takes practice, but I think as long as you check in with yourself, check in with your heart, that you really are coming from a genuine spot and not just out of a place of annoyance, because I think sometimes we could say no because we're just annoyed by everything, and then we end up projecting our frustration and our failures or our own frustration with not keeping our priorities. We may project that on them, which is not what we want to do.
Oh no.
And you know, people in our older generation didn't have the framework to be able to see that or communicate that. So while we do have the framework to set boundaries and we know how to communicate well, it all takes practice, and people may not agree. People may not understand when you, as you get older, change your priorities. Because, you know, some people, like more recently in my life, without getting into too much detail, there's like someone who said, you've changed. And I was like, huh? Like, what? He's like, you're different now. And you know what? I took that to heart, but I had to meditate on it and really think about what that meant to me. And also what that might have meant to that person who is probably offended by my change. And you know what? I was like, to myself, I didn't say it to them, but I was like, thank you, because I feel like I'm in one of the most confident stages of my life. And so I'm grateful for someone to kind of see that in me, even if I may not internally feel that all the time, but like for them to be like, you've changed, is not a reflection. Well, it is a reflection of me and the change that I've brought in my life and how I've grown and how I've really come into myself. And it's also a reflection of them maybe not wanting to change and not being willing or accepting to change or accepting that people change and people grow. And so, yeah, before you take things to heart, like really, you know, really think to yourself, like, what does that mean? Did I change? Even if they say that you changed and they come from a genuine place, and it may be them telling you like, hey, you're not the same, or you've changed in a negative way, also consider that too, because especially if it's coming from a good friend of yours, someone that you trust, you know, I think it's important to self-reflect before like already like yelling back at them and defending yourself. Like sometimes we may be wrong too, you know. So yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting that happened, because when someone says like, oh, you've changed, I mean, I guess it does matter like who says it to you, but like if I said that to you, that's like, oh my god, you changed, like, yay, slay. Yeah. But I guess like whoever's like in front of you, like I guess that way that person perceives you, it carries a lot of like different messages from what they say to you.
Exactly, because I've gotten a lot of those comments like, oh girl, you changed, like you're glowing. Slay. Yeah, and I feel really good about that, because all the tears, all the hard work, all the, you know, the mental stress did not go to waste if you were able to actually see that, you know, outwardly. Even like inwardly, I'm still in the process, I'm still learning, I'm still gaining information and wisdom. I think that's a great compliment, you know. And that's honestly probably what every human wants to hear, is that something's happening and it's a good thing, and it's a great positive change, and I'm happy for you. So but of course, if you're making wrong decisions, things that are not helpful for you, that can also be very obvious to other people too. And you don't want to
hey yo, who's sneezing back there? It's like, nah.
You also don't want it to reach a point where you're completely, you know, losing yourself, and that someone else has to tell you that. And you can't even tell for yourself that you've went in a direction that might not be helpful for you, you know. So yeah, that's why I said bring a journal for this podcast, because it's important to write down your priorities. But do you have any that you're uncomfortable sharing, like any priorities that you've been setting for this time of your life? Oh, let's actually start with our priorities when we were
Girl,
What
I don't
age?
even remember.
18. So we're
What?
either about to graduate high school or we already graduated high school.
Girl.
And then to now. High school, we're simple, but I mean, I think people don't give high schoolers enough credit. Like, that's a lot. That was a lot, y'all.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was college and doing the best that I could and trying to be the best at whatever I could do and coming home with accomplishments and achievements and then being busy and being involved. So those were my priorities, just like doing every assignment on time and all that. And now I feel like more is related to relationships. I think relationship with others, relationship to myself. Yeah, like career is there, but like I feel like everything is intertwined with the relationships that we have with people. You know, like even if you're working super hard in your career, you can't get through it or succeed without relationships, you know, the circles that you need in your life. And so yeah, I'm just right now I'm prioritizing like my mental health. I'm prioritizing yeah, our wedding.
Hey, yeah.
And prioritizing the things that are really important in my life. So important people, important like the yeah, just the values that I keep close to me and my faith and all that, and health, trying, and then and rest. I'm prioritizing as well. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now. So it's really crazy how a lot of our priorities when we were younger is very external based, very like material, career focus, which is not all wrong. Like, you know, actually it probably saved us from all the stuff or like was just preparing us for where we're at now in our adult life, where it's like, yeah, you're adult dealing with adult things and adults around you.
That's so crazy. True.
Yeah,
I think my priorities when I was 18, it was probably just trying to get to learn something in college, because I just remembered like making sure like, oh, I'm gonna be writing notes and I'm gonna learn something from these books, blah blah blah, and understand my major, blah. And then like it was definitely based on like making enough money to pay for my tuition, and I don't think I was thinking about a boyfriend, but it was like, oh, it would be nice to have a boyfriend, but like people are weird and nowadays. But now when I think about my priorities, it's definitely with friendships and doing stuff career based with like social media and things like that. It wasn't much of a priority to me when I was younger, but now it's like it's something that I have to do for work, so it's like it's cool. So I'm like,
yeah, I feel like our motivations are different.
No,
like
they're way different.
Yeah, like thank God we're able to pay our bills at the end of the day, right? And work is work, but like you wouldn't have thought that you were gonna have the jobs that you have now, right? That are really flexible and then that involve like the things that you love, and same with me. But I feel like if we only kept that mentality of just like, I gotta make the most money and, you know, I gotta do this and this and this, like that itself is limiting. And then but it's not until we like get hit with reality that it's not all that. And I'm so grateful that we realize that, because some people are still at our age like not fully living because they're so fixated on like, you know, money or like social status or like living at expensive apartments in the middle of a city that where they're so busy maintaining or like trying to live in this socialite environment but have no friends and are lonely, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's just very interesting, like the things that we thought were important back then. And you know, it's cool to fantasize about like the future and like wanting to like make it or whatever that meant to us before, like being YouTube viral. Oh gosh. But yeah, it's just, I feel like a lot of it is like what basically our parents would tell us when we're younger, like all of that is not gonna matter to you. And they were right on some parts. Like a lot of it doesn't matter. Or even the things they told us that we should care about. We ended up not really caring about it later because maybe it wasn't for us, or maybe it wasn't fitting for our life or the life that we want. So it's a lot of you just really have to be invested in learning more about yourself, I feel like, because people can set priorities with the wrong motives. And they could be setting priorities based off of other people's priorities, and then they start becoming that person, and then it doesn't work for them, and then and they're like, I don't know myself. Which we go through. But it's so true. Like, that's why we have to be very careful with where we put our priority and who we put our priority in. Like, you can't, like, it will be obvious if you put your priority only in your significant other and then ignore everyone else around you, you know. Or like, if you put too much of priority in your work and it affects your kids, it affects, you know, your other relationships, it affects even your relationship with yourself because you haven't been out, or you haven't done this, or you haven't done anything fun. So writing down your priorities is very important, and it will change, and you have to be open to change. And you have to be open to knowing that you will change too, because you'll learn things like it may not work for you anymore. So
that's true. After this conversation, it kind of reminded me of like another priority when I was like younger. It was the whole like, I'm popular. I want to get to know everybody. La 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 la. And then now it's like my priority is like, I don't want to know too many people at this point. I just like my circle now. So it's like, every time I see someone in the street, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know them. Oh my gosh, I know them. No. So.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, I'm also more towards the extroverted side, and I love meeting new people. But my priority is maintaining my closest friends.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of let life happen as it goes, and kind of see the vibe with another person along the way. I think when we were younger, we were so eager to just be someone's best friend, call them best friend, and then text them every day. And I'm like, girl, I'm going to respond to you in 3 days.
Exactly.
Just hang tight.
Right?
Because I'm doing something else. And so, I think that's just interesting.
It is so... Do you remember when we would text our friends good morning? Oh my gosh, we would have to text like 5-6 different people, like, oh my god, good morning, what time are you gonna be to school today? Like, oh my gosh, I remember doing that. It was so cringy.
And I take pride for this. I deleted Snapchat when they first got their first upgrade, because I just got tired of people saying, keep our streak.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I'm doing homework right now. Like, I have to freaking worry about making this D a C in my class. And I'm glad that I set that boundary early on. But like, yeah, it's just stuff like that, you know. I just didn't find priority in, especially if someone I see in class once a day and then I don't see them again. Like, it's so funny. Still recording?
So good.
Okay.
That's so funny when you say streaks. Dude, I think it's a DMV thing because nobody uses Snapchat anymore. I think that's a DMV thing.
Do you know people who use Snapchat still?
Can we put that in there? Can we put that in there? Oh my god. Stop. But no, because honestly... Stop! I have friends who use Cash App.
Why do people use Cash App?
I don't even know. But yeah, that's like... That was so weird. We had a priority like that in high school, and we had to like...
I think we just wanted to be liked overall. I think that's a big theme in high school. Is like, you just want to be liked. You don't want to feel uncomfortable or have a situation where you feel like people don't like you or like don't want to be around you. And so, man, you'd keep a streak to keep a friendship. But like, y'all, for those who kept a streak, where are they now? Come on,
right? Like, your 4,000 streak, buddy. Like, hello.
it broke relationships. If you broke it, you're
Right?
like, really, that is what you based your friendship on.
Snapchat, dude. Don't use Snapchat anymore.
Oh my
I only
gosh.
have, I only have Snapchat just to look at like old.
Oh, for sure. I'm about to
videos.
do that like
So-
soon. Yeah, like looking at like I think it's like once a year I look back because it'll hit like our anniversary, or I'm just curious to see
Aw,
like
yeah,
what we were doing that time. It was a whole lot of nothing, guys.
nothing happens.
You're like, hey, what's up?
Oh,
Not
gosh.
much. What's up? Like, I don't have those much. Like
Oh,
nowadays,
yeah.
like, hey, how are you? We need to catch up. Let's set an appointment. Like, we don't have time to small
No.
talk on here now.
We want that. No,
But
no
if I
double
do send you
texting.
long paragraphs, you are my priority friend. Like, I love
Slay.
you.
That's what's up. Oh my god, that's so funny.
But those now, they're gonna think
What?
about like, oh, she's never responded to me with a paragraph. I may not be a priority, but yeah.
Wait a minute. You know what?
You don't like me.
But yeah, this definitely. I guess another priority is like the likes that we get on social media. Because I know for a fact, like I had like the Instagram notifications a lot. So like whenever I would post something, I'm like, okay, where are the likes?
Yeah.
But now like I've made a priority to not look at that as
Mhm.
much anymore. So like I turned off like notifications on all my social medias. So it won't be like prioritizing me to look at my phone so often. And then like after if I've conditioned myself to do it, I don't feel prioritized to look at like likes every single time I have to like post or something, or like looking forward to how many would go on like a page or something.
Yeah.
So-
Speaking of social media, and this may be controversial. Sorry, but I unfollowed a lot of people.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Girl.
Because some people do have a problem, and I did have a problem with that before.
Mhm.
I had trouble unfollowing because I cared too much about what they think of me. But like then I thought about, first of all, with these algorithms, you got to work with it. If you still want to be on Instagram, but you find that the things that you're following aren't helping you at all and helping you achieve your goals, like unfollow. Or if it's someone that you met one time and there has been no relationship after that, and you're only following them just because they have this amount of followers on Instagram, like you can unfollow them, and so I think that's another form of priority setting, and keeping like what's most important and who is most important in your life. So
Yeah, you honestly should just follow the people that you see in real life, like
at this
yeah.
point, yeah.
And then you can just be like, when you see them in person, be like, oh my god, you posted, girl, you look so good, oh my god, blah blah blah. Yeah, I've had instances when I had to like, I think there were times when, this is like now, when I would like see if someone's following me. If they're not following me, I'm like, oh okay, unfollow. Like it's not big of a deal. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's more of being able to focus on people that you actually see in your everyday
Yeah.
life and following what they're doing and liking what they're doing on social media than following someone that you barely know.
Yeah, and it goes back to that guilt thing. Like, are you still following, and not even just in social media, but are you still like putting energy and time into someone who could care less about you, or who has different priorities too, Maybe like the lifestyle that you've entered is not really aligned with theirs, and so sometimes there's no need to put too much effort in keeping that connection or that friendship or whatever. So yeah,
That's true. I'm gonna go through my followers again. Unfollow. I'm just kidding. But it feels good. I mean, honestly, that's like a good practice.
It is.
Like clearing up. Like,
even like celebrities,
spaces, yeah.
celebrities that I used to follow as a high schooler, I don't follow anymore. Like I'm like, why did I? I have not, like, I can't relate to anything that you're doing right now, so I'm just not gonna follow you.
that's so true. I would rather follow my hot dog guy instead of a celebrity.
Hot dog?
Yeah, honestly, it's Because like there's like this hot dog guy I follow, the Catalyst hot dogs. I rather follow Catalyst than like Ryan Reynolds. I'm not gonna see Ryan Reynolds. I'm gonna see my hot dog guy next week.
Know.
Like,
yeah,
dude, I'd rather like interact with his post, comment. Of course, he's gonna comment back, and always expects us to see him and stuff like that. That's more of that's like a better way to use social media instead of like following like random celebrities that I don't even know if you'll ever meet.
Yeah. Yeah. And if your priority is to not gossip, then stop watching gossip podcasts and in YouTube, like, or like stuff like that. You know, it's like little atomic changes you can make to help you keep your priorities and honestly live a life of integrity. You know, we will sometimes you know, be doom scrolling, and that was one of our things that we don't want to do to reach a certain goal, to keep up with our goals and our to-do lists in life. But it happens. But you know, have your goal be a person of integrity before reaching some perfection or whatever. Like, I think that's one of the things that I try to live by. Like, I know I may fall and I may fail and I may say the wrong things or do the wrong thing, but my goal is to at least be a person of integrity and honesty. So I think that's one of the biggest thing you can do when setting priorities. Taking accountability.
Good. Yes, 100%. Yes. So don't feel FOMO, guys. Choose your battles.
Yeah, I'm ahead.
Choose who you want to be with. If they're going to be in your life long term, short term, medium term, I don't know. Oh my God. Do whatever that makes you feel like you.
Yeah.
Ew, what was that?
Yeah. Okay. I think to close this out, if you can give any, you know, encouragement to someone who may be losing themselves a little bit, or maybe they're finding that the things that they've put a lot of energy and time in is not necessarily what they want, what they need to prioritize to live a, you know, intentional and like joyful life. So what would be your encouragement, or even like lessons you've learned?
Like, invest in things that don't make you anxious in a negative way, more anxious in like seeing how it'll be in the future, like at the end of everything. Because honestly, you don't want to prioritize something that you're being like thinking negatively about, and then it happens. You would rather just prioritize those things that make you feel better about yourself, and making you like, and it makes you feel, what is it, like reassured that you made the right decision. So
that's
like
really good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
I just made that up. Okay. Joke. I'm gonna cut this out. Okay.
No, that was really good. That's great advice.
What about you, Pollyanna?
Probably along the same lines. One thing that I'm really learning, and also, by the way, like I haven't been keeping up with the podcast because I feel like I'm in a not awkward, but like critical time in my life where I'm actually really excited to share what I've learned, but I'm still learning. and I'm just kind of gathering everything that I'm learning from these new experiences that I'm going through. But yeah, anyways, I think for me, the thing that I've learned throughout this journey so far is that, like you said, anything that makes you uncomfortable in a negative way or doesn't steer you towards your most authentic self, don't prioritize that. And there will be a lot of things in your life and influences that will cause you to feel guilty for living the most authentic self. And you shouldn't be surrounded by these things that don't help you be the best version of you. And you should also be surrounded by people that keep you accountable in a positive way, you know, and are not just there for their gain or for their value, because that will really help you in your growth. And so that's what's helped me. And yeah, I can't speak for everyone, but journaling just really, really helps, because you can write down like you know, how you felt that day, and maybe a certain situation happened in your job or within your family or your relationships. And then you're able to look back on it, and then you're like, where was my priority there? You know, was my priority being right, or is my priority strengthening a relationship? And so it's good to like process it, not make emotional decisions, because you can kind of pervert your priority and change it in a way that it's not supposed to be. You know what I mean? So just be very mindful and be very intentional when setting these intentions.
Well, that's all for today. If you guys are really interested in more about Positive Ponder, definitely join our email list, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Spotify.
Yes. And if you're in the DMV area and you want to meet the community, not just us.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of us around, and you'd like to connect, please sign up to our email list so you can learn more about, you know, exclusive events. So we just had our Positive in Paint, which was like a huge success. So many new people. And we were super excited to meet y'all. And I hope those who are new and just tuning into the podcast because of that event, I hope you stick around. And yeah, hopefully in the next months, as things change in my life and our lives, we'll still be able to be connected somehow. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us, you know, personally on our socials. If there's any topics you like us to bring up, please let us know. And if you have been on our journey, and have really gained value from what we offer and what we give, and the content that we put out and the events that we host, please do consider becoming a monthly or one-time supporter. All of these funds go towards Positive and Ponder, and just finding unique and creative ways for you to live intentional lives, to connect with others, and to grow with us. So yeah, that's it. Thanks, Mary, for today's topic.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the next one.
Oh, and don't forget
to always love,
always be curious, and to always ponder. Bye.